I think Patrick Williams should be in this conversation, man. Probably the third most impactful Bull in terms of wins.
Really quick, before I begin, if you guys can smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, this seriously makes a huge difference to my videos and lets YouTube know to recommend this video to a brand new audience. So thank you so much for doing that, and let's begin.
So I didn't think that this conversation was going to be relevant at all after the first month of play, just because I thought LaMelo Ball was going to run away with the Rookie of the Year award. But since his injury, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to end up winning it with missing all of this time. It's unfortunate for him. But that being said, Matt, where do you rank Patrick Williams? Would you say Patrick Williams should be at least in the conversation, top 5 in Rookie of the Year awards? Or do you think there's some players, some guys having other better seasons, some things deterring Patrick Williams from being a part of the top 5? Just where did you have him sitting? Even before the LaMelo Ball injury, I was thinking 2 through 10. Where did you have him sitting?
I mean, I would say probably outside the top 5, but in the top 10. I mean, even with LaMelo's injury, you still got Anthony Edwards. You still got Tyrese Halliburton. Wiseman hasn't been anything spectacular for Golden State. But Saddiq Bey's having himself a really nice season. So, I mean, I would put him probably somewhere in the 6 to 10 range right now as far as what would be fair odds for him to somehow steal the award or where he would ultimately finish.
Yeah, I thought Halliburton at first. I was like, there's no doubt. Emmanuel Quickley for the Knicks has had a really good season.
Quickley's a sneaky one, yeah.
That was more towards the beginning of the season. He's cooled off a little bit, and it doesn't help when Tibbs decided to trade for Derrick Rose, and Derrick Rose has kind of eaten up some of his minutes and his usage. The other guy that I thought about, too, on top of him, LaMelo, obviously, and then Anthony Edwards has actually had, outside the first month, he's had a really good season, even though the Timberwolves have been so beaten up and broken, it feels like. But I think Patrick Williams should be in this conversation, man. At 5th, if we're taking LaMelo Ball completely out of the conversation, I think Patrick Williams should be in the top 5. I'm looking at NBA.com's ranking. They do the Kia rookie ladder. This week's edition has Patrick Williams listed as 9th. I'll give you the top 8 players. So number 1, they have Tyrese Halliburton from the Kings. 2, they have Anthony Edwards. 3 is Emmanuel Quickley from the Knicks. Jayshawn Tate from Houston is number 4. Saddiq Bey from the Pistons is number 5. LaMelo comes in at number 6. Wiseman at 7 for the Warriors. Desmond Bane of the Grizzlies at 8. And then Pat Will at 9. And Isaiah Stewart of the Pistons at 10. To me, it lists here that Patrick Williams and Isaac Okoro of the Cavs are the only 2 rookies to start every single game. On top of everything that Patrick Williams has done to impact wins on this team this year as a rookie, he's been durable, man. And the Bulls haven't had a durable player come out of the draft and be healthy since we started this rebuild. I think this is a little bit low, and maybe this goes to the fact that the Bulls haven't won as many games as maybe people thought. They're still sitting 10th in the Eastern Conference. Any of those factors you think part of the reason why Patrick Williams is ranked lower on the ladder than maybe I thought?
I mean, I think there are a few factors at play here, and one of them that maybe fans won't like, but I think is very much undeniably true, is that much like Zion's rookie year, where he missed considerable time nursing an injury, and Ja Morant had himself a fascinating and exciting rookie year, Zion still got a lot of votes, even for the amount of time that he missed, because the truncated number of games that he played were in themselves wildly impressive for a rookie. And yeah, there was a lot of hype for number 1 overall pick, but in the amount of games that he played, he backed up that hype. And I think that you can make the same argument for LaMelo this season. So, your hypothetical of, okay, well, taking LaMelo out of the equation. No, I think LaMelo very much stays a part of the equation. And I think that even though he's had this, he suffered this very unfortunate injury, what LaMelo showed people while he was playing his rookie year is still going to generate him a lot of votes, because much like Zion, he lived up to, and maybe even more so than Zion in LaMelo's case, surpassed the hype, because there were a lot of LaMelo doubters but you saw what he did and what he did when he was inserted into that starting lineup after a while, for that team. I think even with this injury, he's still going to finish top 3. Maybe 9 is a little low for Patrick Williams. I have seen other sites listed odds where he's something like 7th, or maybe even in some cases 6th. I think anywhere in that 6 to 10 range is fair. You're right about the durability thing, but a smaller number of games from LaMelo doing what he was doing, and let's be honest, doing it in front of a larger audience than Patrick Williams, whose Bulls have had 2 nationally televised games, is still going to factor into how people vote.
I think there's 2 things that kind of factor into this, and it's offense. First and foremost, like flashy, big-time scoring, the ability to pass the way that LaMelo has, and the success. Like, the Hornets are a really cool story this year. They've been a lot of fun to watch, a lot in part because of LaMelo. The thing is though, anytime we talk about awards, usually it's pushed based off of offense is going to be outweighing defense. I think, is it fair for me to say that Patrick Williams is probably the 3rd most impactful Bulls player this year on this team in terms of wins? Like, guys that are impacting wins. Without Patrick Williams, I think Zach LaVine and Thaddeus Young are the 2 other guys ahead of him. But those 3 guys, I think, have been the 3 most important players to this team this year. To me, I think that matters a lot to Bulls fans, and that should be talked about. I don't think it's talked about enough because the Bulls haven't picked up enough wins. They just went on a bad losing streak. They're 10th in the East. I think all of that combined has people not talking about Patrick Williams as much as they should. On top of that, like, Zach LaVine is having a ridiculous year, so he's the main storyline, but I think people have tended to forget about Patrick Williams, and I don't know if it's the fact that they didn't know who he was, like a lot of us didn't coming out of the draft. That kind of knocked him down some bars, but thinking about like Tyrese Halliburton, he's had a ridiculous year. Any one of these guys in the top 5 have had great offensive years as rookies. Patrick Williams is averaging less than 10 points a game, so I think that's an impact part of it too. I really do, though, feel like the winning part of it has deterred Patrick Williams from being a part of this conversation, and that's not to his fault of his own. It's just the lack of attention this Bulls team is getting outside of guys like Zach LaVine.
Yeah, I think whether it's Rookie of the Year or any other season-long award, winning is always factored in. You do bring up a good point about his contribution to the modest number of wins that the Bulls have managed thus far. And I absolutely agree that behind Zach and Thad, he's been the 3rd most impactful, obviously prior to getting Vooch in the trade. But it's mostly about the durability. I think he missed 1 game this season that he sat out because he had something sore and he took 1 night off. Other than that, he has been playing and he has been starting. I think it's absolutely fair to say that even as a 19-year-old rookie, he's had the 3rd greatest impact behind Zach and Thad. But from the national perspective, I don't think that would factor in all that heavily when you're talking about the impact a player has as a rookie on his team winning, when that team, as the Bulls are now, are 6 games under 500, as opposed to rookies playing on teams that have better records.
Yet I think Patrick Williams is really only, from an offensive standpoint, I think really we can only point to maybe 1 game where he's really taken over and been a part of that. The other rookies ahead of them, I think, have been a part of that conversation. I just find it bizarre that some of these teams that are kind of bottom of the barrel teams like the Rockets and the Pistons have 2 guys on this list. And again, this is coming from the NBA website. It's just one person's opinion. But I found that a little bit bizarre. I think if they dug into the stats and the season that the Bulls they were having, I think people would have different opinions about him. But again, like you were talking about, it's the national coverage versus the local coverage.